Well, we have about 29 participants, and it hasn't changed in a little while, so I think we could go ahead and get started.
Okay.
If you'd like, I can do a short introduction, and then I'll hand it over to you to get started.
That's fine.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for our Nebraska GeoCloud webinar. Today, I'm pleased to have the IGIS team from Denmark joining us, and they're going to give us a brief rundown of GeoCloud and how to use it. Give us a short demonstration. Just a couple housekeeping items. Make sure your mics are muted. If you don't need to have your camera on, that might help us to maximize bandwidth. And we are recording this session, so if you have a coworker who can't join us, or if you know somebody who wanted to be here but couldn't, we will post the recording to the UNL GeoCloud website when we're done, so you can view it later. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all I have. I'd like to introduce now our guests. We have, is there just three of you, Tom?
Yeah, we are three.
Okay, we have Tom Martlev-Pallesen, who is the head of consultancy there at IGIS, and his team, Morten Berg, in the middle, and then Thomas, right?
That's right, yeah.
Thomas Rasmussen?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's also part of their team. So thanks for joining us, guys. I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you for letting us getting this opportunity to make this brief demo of the GeoCloud system. So, yeah, well, Jesse, you have been the guy behind the, yeah, I guess the definition of what the cloud should be able to do at your end. And I'll just try and share my screen. So we have made a few slides. I'm not sure it was shared. So can you see the slides here? At your end?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Jeg skal prøve at varme skærmen. I stedet for. Helt også venstre der. Ja, den der.
That's better.
We see it now, Tom.
Okay, so we have the next couple of hours for this demonstration of the GeoCloud system. And well, Jesse, you made a short presentation of us, so I think we'll just skip this one. There are three nice pictures of us. But the agenda for today is we have had this short introduction by Jesse and by us here at IGIS. Then I'll give a few words of the GeoCloud concept, show you which data types we handle on the cloud. I'll give a very short demonstration of how the user interface looks when you log on to the GeoCloud system. Then Thomas will take over and give you a few examples of how you can upload data to the cloud, how you can upload projects to the cloud. We'll come back to these definitions. And then one of the things with this GeoCloud system is that if you have a GeoScene portal viewer, GeoScene is the 3D modeling software we are developing here at IDS, and you got a number of licenses in Nebraska. And GeoCloud can connect directly to the data uploaded to the data portal on the Nebraska GeoCloud. And Thomas will give an example of that. Another thing you can do with the data on the cloud is that you can download them, or you can create WMSs to be used in GIS programs such as QGIS or ArcGIS. And then Morten will have a few slides about some upcoming things on the GeoCloud. The GeoCloud is under constant development here. Yeah, in the future, new functionalities will be added to the cloud. And then we will try to, we would prefer to wait with the questions until the end of our presentation. But please write any questions on the chat, or just write them on a note so we can take them at the end of the presentations. Our best estimate is that the presentation would take an hour or so. Okay, so the GeoCloud concept. I think Jesse showed more or less the same as I'm going to point out now here at the webinar the 1st of July. So GeoCloud is a web-based digital platform that is accessible from I guess any web browser and anywhere. So it's a kind of data storage platform. It's made for geodata. We can store, share, and distribute geophysical data, geological data, groundwater related data. We could add other data types as well, but this is the data types we typically deal with when we are looking subsurface at the geology and the groundwater aquifers. The GeoCloud has some upload and download functionalities, so designated users can upload data to the cloud, and designated users can download and view these data. But we'll have closer look into that in a few minutes. For the cloud, we have developed some special databases for storing geophysical data and borehole data. So when you upload data from, for instance, an Access database, it's written into a special developed database developed by us at IDS. And by that, it's accessible from GeoCloud portal viewer. The administrator, in this case, it's Jesse and us at IDS, can give different privilege to users for upload or download functionalities. This is right now we have two levels of user access, but it's something we are looking into to have some more levels for different approaches to the cloud. As it is right now, the cloud is in fact consisting of two clouds. So you need, depending on what you want to do in the GeoCloud, you need to log on to two different sites. They are integrated into each other, so you don't have to open two different browsers, something like that. But we have this project part of the cloud, and we have the data part of the cloud. The project, on the project cloud, you can store, I'll say, any kind of data format. We have some specific data formats, but all other data formats, as far as they are zipped into a zip or a RAW file, can be uploaded on the project cloud. So it's a kind of repository, you could call it. For the data part of the cloud, we also have some specific file formats. For the data part, there's a map window where you can see data locations that are typically shown as points, geophysical data, borehole data, or this type of data, or as grid files, maps on the map. And from data cloud, you can again download, upload files in some predefined file formats. We have this special developed using 3D portal viewer that can connect from using when you open this portal viewer, you can connect directly to the GeoCloud and add data to make them visible in using 2D and 3D environments, and by that you can create different types of theme maps. You can create cross sections and so on. You can use the data if you have the using builder versions. You can use the cloud data to build your own geological models, which again can be uploaded to the GeoCloud. You can create these web map services, WMS, to be used in GIS programs. And Thomas will show an example of that later. And I guess if you have any questions about the specific use or access to the cloud, you should contact Jesse. He is the main administrator of the Nebraska GeoCloud. Isn't that right, Jesse? Yeah.
That's
okay.
right. That's right.
Yeah, good. Okay, just for the cloud file formats, we have the data page. The data page is where you see the individual data sets. There are groups. We'll have a look at that in a few minutes. In some main data type groups. You can upload boreholes from Access databases. You can upload geophysical AEM data from GeoSoft files, XYZ files. We have the 2D grids upload. Okay, we'll just have to let another one into the presentation here. Thank you, Thomas. You can upload different kinds of 2D grids. 3D grids, it's a GRD3 format. It's a specific using 3D format, which are being used for instance, when we interpolate, when we create 3D grids based on EM data. We can upload geophysical logs, different kinds of point data. We have the GIS files as shape files and color scales from CLR files. And then on the project page, we have a number of predefined file formats, but as I said before, in reality, all file formats, as far as they are zipped or made as raw files, can be uploaded to the project page. But on the project page, you can't see the individual data points, you could say. You have a bound box showing the maximum extent of the data related to a project. You can upload GS mod files. The other one, it's the Geoscene project file. So if you have a Geoscene project, the GS mod file can be uploaded and opened by downloading it again and open in Geoscene, and then you can navigate around in geological models. Okay, then I'll try to log on to the Nebraska GeoCloud. First, we see here in the bottom of the screen a link to geocloud.live. That's the name of the main entrance to the portal. In some cases, when you log on, it takes a few seconds. In other cases, it could take I guess up to a minute or two. So this is the main access. We need to sign into the cloud, and here we have a drop-down list with different GeoClouds. We have a number of customers using this system, and we will log on to the Nebraska GeoCloud. You will need to have to be registered with a username, and you need to have a password. So I type in my password. And the GeoCloud Nebraska, as I said here, opens up. So now we are in what in the clouds world is called the projects map. We see a number of projects that has been defined by the users with the upload access. It's mainly Jesse and Rachel, I guess. So we see here, if we look to the right, we have some startup templates. I'll come back to those. And then we have all these projects here. You can see when I scroll down here, the bounding boxes in the map window turns out yellow, lower Elkhorn. If I click on that, window opens up. There's some basic information, DF, SkyTem survey, blah, blah, blah. And if we click on the files, we can see which data files are uploaded to this project. We have a PDF report, some zip files, some metadata file. And if you click on download, it downloads and opens up. And then, of course, it can be saved on your computer. Yeah, so you can download different kind of data related to the individual project. In some cases, there would be a GeoCine file. There's the amount of data differs depending on the work that has been done. Let me see if I could see any JSMAP files here.
You could try the demo.
The demo, demo, yeah. Okay, yeah. So here you can see well we have the files. It just contain one zip file, but we also have the GeoCine project. So if I click on that, I have the ability to, or the option to download the GeoCine project file. I won't download that one now, but if I click save, downloads onto my computer, and I can open it in the GeoCine portal or layer builder versions. So there's a long list of projects here. The startup templates is a predefined GeoCine project file. There are 3 different types. If I click on one of them, there's a few information here, and the starting scene extent 10 times 10 kilometers. And in the GeoCine world, the scene extent is the what would you call it? The area in which you see or download data into GeoCine. It can be changed afterwards, but this is some predefined. It has a predefined size and a predefined amount of data. There could be aerial photos, there could be borehole databases, there could be terrain models, and so on. And depending on which template you use, you can press the select area button, and place a 10 times 10 kilometer square anywhere on the cloud, and GeoScene will open up and show the data that has been stored or saved inside the area where you place the template. If no data are at the template position, so if I open a template from here where it's positioned now, I can't see any bounding boxes here. I would have a completely empty project. So you need to place the template in a part of the state of Nebraska where you have some data. Okay, I think we'll come back to the templates later on. Yeah. And Thomas and Morten, please comment if you have anything you think I miss. Okay, so you can see there's a number of projects here defined by or shown by these bounding boxes here in the map window. And oops. Yeah. So that's a few words about the project maps. The project maps, or the content of the project maps, is administered here in the project administration map. So here, when I click on the project administration, and I guess not all users will have access to this one, because this is where you can edit and delete the different projects uploaded to the cloud. So if I press on the, let's try and see here on the demo only, I press on the edit, and this page opens up, and this is where where the administrator defines the projects by the bounding box, the description of the projects, the name, and a lot of other information. And it's also here the administrator gives access to the different users of the GeoCloud. And it's also here where you upload the different data that belongs to the project. So it can be new projects can be created, or existing projects can be edited or deleted on the project's administration. We have this help button here, and when you press on this one, there doesn't seem to be anything. So it's not very informative as it is right now, but very soon we'll have some text for the help functionality. We're working on a document. It's not totally finished, but it's very close to. So this is a kind of a step-by-step guide to how to use the GeoCloud for basic users and expert users. So that's a few words of the project map, of the project administration. Then we have the data map and the data administration. The data map opens up like this, and I just need to go back to the project map. This requires another logon when you go to the data map. And as it is right now, I need, what happened here? I think I accidentally did something that locked me out. I just need to sign in again. what I want to do was that I want to go to the data administration. And as you can see, I need to log in to that page. So it's two separate pages that in the future will be integrated into each other. So it only requires one logon. But as it is right now, we need to log in again. This is a one-time login, so it will remember the login when you come back to this page. So now I am on the data administration map. I just go to the data map. Now it shows the right content. So what we see here is the data map, where you can see the individual data sets that has been uploaded to the data map through the data administration page. The data are grouped in some predefined groups. We have the surveys, as you can see here. We have 2D grids, 3D grids, boreholes, points, logs, and shape files. We have the option to show all bound boxes, so it shows all the data that has been uploaded to the cloud here on the data map. If we go, let's try and see 2D grid. So when I click on the 2D grid group, it expands. This is all the 2D grids. If we click on the information button on one of the grids, we can see, we have the option to download the grid. We see the PSD value and some basic information. And if I click on the dark blue box here, I'll be shown a bounding box. It's very, very small. So in this case, so we can zoom to this layer here. So this is the bounding box showing the extent of the data. If we want to see the actual data, it's a grid file. Don't know how it looks. Well, this is how it looks. So it's the grid file showing, some saturated thickness of sand within blah, blah, blah. You can show more grids on each other, and we have this option to change the transparency. So if you have boreholes and maybe geophysical flight lines, you can change the grid or the order of the data here in the map window, and you can change the transmissivity. There's a legend you can open up here, move it around, remove it again. So this is how a grid typically will turn out. And in a short while, Thomas will show you how you upload a grid and how you combine the grid with a color scale. Let's look at the boreholes. We have some wells here. Let's zoom to the extent of the wells. And let's see the well positions. So it turns up like these purple dots here. So this is the well positions of the DNR wells in this data set. And again, if you want to download the borehole database, click on the information button and download file, or just click, no, you can't just click here in the map window. So you need to press on the information and click download. Here in the data map window, you can change the backgrounds from an OpenStreetMap layer to an aerial photo like this. It's also here in the data map, you can create the WMS if you want to use this borehole position file. You can download it as an WMS. press copy link and copy the link into QGIS or any other software. Yeah. If I forgot to mention anything here, any relevant?
No, I think it's okay for now.
Yeah. We have this that's been uploaded quite a big amount of data to the Nebraska GeoCloud, and hopefully many other data will follow the next years. We are, as it is right now, all 2D grids will show up in this 2D grid group, but we are working on a solution where you can group the 2D grids in maybe in some user-defined projects or something like that. So that's something we are looking into, because already now we see a long list of grid files here. We have the if you click this own data in extend to, the list will be reduced to only show grids that is available inside the actual view here. So if I zoom out, you can see the list expands. If I zoom in, we have fewer and fewer data to select here. So that's one way to get rid of this long list. So if you know that you need to see what kind of data do we have here at Humphrey, zoom into Humphrey, and you can only select between these files here, and it's the same for the 3D grids and boreholes and so on. So that's about the data map. So if we go to the data administration page, it looks like this, and this is the place where we control the data on the data map. This is here where we upload new data, file upload, and when you upload a file, we have you will get you will be notified here on in this window about the status of the upload, and hopefully it ends up with a success. You can see we have yeah, we did some testing. Try to upload some files that failed, and it will yeah, show up here. So you have to make sure that your files, when you try to upload files, ends up with this success message. Well, Thomas, should we
yeah,
try and
sure.
dive a bit deeper with the upload functionality?
Yeah, let's do that.
So I'll let you have the mouse and the keyboard.
Yes.
So yeah, so now Thomas will show you how you actually upload data.
Yes. So what we'll try to do here is I'll upload just a couple of files. I'll try to upload a 2D grid and a borehole file. So where we are at the moment is at the file upload page. And this is where you'll go if you would like to upload files, of course. So there's two ways to do this. Either you can click this field, or you can just drag in your file to this field. I'll click it, bring up your this box here where you'll be able to select your file, and I'll just find it. Here. So I'll start out with the color scale. and that will make sense in a moment. And Jesse, now of course I'm uploading to your page. I'll be sure to delete everything in the end to clean it up again. So you see here when I'm selecting a file, it will give me this file type selection. So it will ask me what kind of file am I trying to upload now. And this is a color scale, I will select color scale. And press continue. It will ask me, is it a continuous or discrete color scale? This is a continuous, so press finish. It will upload the file here. First processing the file, quickly showing this brownish color. And when it becomes successful, finally uploaded, it will say success. Once done, it will be found, all color scales and symbologies can be found under materials. So now my IGIS terrain color scale is now found here. I can download or delete it again. So now I have a color scale uploaded, and I wanted to do this before I uploaded my 2D grid, as I wanted to be available for when I do this. So going on to my 2D grid, I'll select it here, just quickly grab the name. And now I select it to be a 2D grid. And it will ask me for a name. This is the name and a short description. Uploaded by IGS, and of course the EPSG of it. So I will write the state plane EPSG. And press continue. And this is where I then have to select my color scale. This is my newly uploaded color scale for this terrain file, so I'll select that. We'll get the full list of all the other color scales that's also been uploaded. I'll press finish. You'll see it's first uploading to our database, and once uploaded, it will be put here to the lists and be stated as processing. And this, depending on the size of your file and or also the type of the file, this will vary in time. This should not be too long, as this is a somewhat small 2D grid. But once again, if the size is way larger, it will take way longer. So now you see it succeeded. So I have my terrain grid uploaded. Now I should be able to go to the data map, and I should be able to find my 2D grid. And you see it here, IGI's terrain. So if I click on the bounding box as Tom showed and zoom to it, I can now see the extent of the newly uploaded grid. I can also ask it to show me the VMS of it. And this is with the color scale that I defined and uploaded. So if I bring color scale up here, you can see the values of it. Also, and that was this button here. So I have my 2D grid in here. Let's go back to the data administration and go to file upload again and try with a borehole database. So the grids are pretty simple, just asking for a color scale and some names. It will become a little bit more advanced, you could say, when you go into databases or such as AM files, because you'll have to choose and tell the database a little bit more information about the file that you are trying to upload. So here I selected my well database, and that was an borehole data from an Microsoft Access database. These two file versions, I'll press continue and finish. So the thing here with the boreholes are that they will first be uploaded, and then, as you see here, it will become blue. So the status is now awaiting, and it requires additional setup. So I have actually to go here and select it. And now it will bring up all the information, or it will ask me to give all the information about the boreholes in order to actually become a successful upload. So I'll call it IGS wells. The type is borehole, and a description, let's say uploaded by IGS again, EPSG, state plane. So the first page that I get to here is it will ask me for the borehole positions. So in the database that I uploaded, there were a number of tables, and I now have the option to choose from these tables. So I have a table here called test wells position. So if I select that, it will look into the table and see what fields do I have. And I have a well ID being my borehole ID, and I have a state plane X in meters and state plane Y coordinate in meters. I also have an elevation. When I'm done, I click continue and I'll get to the next page. This is the lithology page. As for the borehole position page, I will now have to select and tell in what table do I find the lithologies. This will be in my test wells lithology table. Going on to borehole ID, once again, the well ID, I'll have to select is my lithology information in depth or in elevation. If it's in depth, as it is here, I'll just keep it, otherwise I'll change it to elevation. My top information about my lithologies from the wells, the individual wells. Top, if I have the bottom, otherwise I can click it off, but I have it here, so I'll keep it on. And then the symbol is the lithology description of the well logs. And I have that as lith here. And lastly, if I have a description, I can add that as well. Otherwise, I'll just click it off. So that's lithology. Once again, when I'm done, I click continue, going to the next page. And now you can see here that this, from this step here, everything actually becomes optional. It says up here. So if I do not have stratigraphy information in my database, I can just skip this. Otherwise, I'll select the table. I actually have it here, test well stratigraphy. And then I'll once again select the well ID and the top, bottom, and symbol and description, just as for the lithology. And then I click continue. Once again, an optional page. This is if I have inclination information on my boreholes. Once again, I have this in this database, so I'll choose my inclination table, my well ID, and then the angle and direction of my inclination on the boreholes. If I did not have it, I would skip, otherwise I'll just continue. Now I got to the water level table. So this is where, if I have any information about the water level of my boreholes, I will add it here. Going to my water level table, select my well ID, select my screen number and intake number if I have those, otherwise I can click them off. And if I have a time of measurement as well, I will click that too here. And lastly, my water level. Once again, if my water level is in depth or elevation, I have the option here. If I did not have water levels, I would once again skip. And now we are at the screen page. So I will select the screen table, select the well ID for my borehole ID, select the screen number if I have one, and select the top of my screen and the bottom of my screen. Once again, if it's in depth or elevation, I have the option here. I click continue, and this is the last one. I have to tell it everything that I entered here for my table is the unit in the unit of the boreholes. Is it in meter or in foot? And this is in meter. So I'll just keep it in that and press finish. And then it will start processing the data. Here you see. Now I've given it the additional information that it required for actually uploading this borehole database. and it will process this until it shouldn't be taking too long as well. Yeah, there it is. So wells successfully uploaded as well. Now I should be able, as for my terrain file, be able to see those on the data map. So I go into my borehole table this time, and I will find my IGIS wells and click on my bounding box and zoom to the wells, and maybe also click on the VMS. And there you see I have a number of boreholes uploaded here for this area. If I go into the Show Data Information tab, it will actually now tell me an information about my database that I didn't give it. It will tell me that I have 20 wells in this database that I uploaded. So it will, that's just some counting it will do in the database and tell you here on the information. So when you come back to this at a later stage, you will always know how many wells is actually in this upload. You'll be able to download the files again. Just the exact files that I uploaded will be downloadable from here. And the same applies for the 2D grid. I can download it. So let's have a look at them together. There. So now you see the wells on top of the 2D grid. And actually, I got a little lucky here because it could have been the other way around. And of course, then the 2D grid would have disguised where the wells were, their positions. So that would bring me into the Order tab. So I will just click this on so the list becomes smaller. And here you can see that in the Order tab that I have my wells on top and my terrain down here. So this is actually what helped me here. So the wells is on top of the terrain. I can freely move the items here on the list. You can see it here. And if I move my terrain on top of the wells disappears, as now the terrain is shown as the upper layer. So if you want to show multiple things and you suddenly don't see what you've turned on, this might be the reason. Go to Order and make sure that everything is ordered in the correct order.
Then we have this transparency option.
Yes,
also,
of course. Yeah. So that's also, of course, an option to see if something's behind your layer. Let me just bring on the Bing map here, and we can try to make the terrain a little bit transparent. So this is different options on how you want to visualize the data that you have uploaded. Okay, so that's for the data upload. Let me just go back to data administration for a second, because now I want to go into this tab here called Data. And now you can see when I click that, it will flip out these all the different data types. And this is actually also an administration page for the files that have been uploaded. So if you're going to borehole, I will find my wells that I uploaded, IGIS wells. I have some information about the minimum, maximum coordinates in X and Y position, the number of wells, and so forth. This is also where I can delete the wells again. If I by mistake did something, or I have the database might have been updated, so I now have more than 20 wells in the database, I would need to upload it again. I can then delete the old one here and upload it again. I can also download from here. This is the download button. So here you will also be able to find everything that has been uploaded. And you can search, this is a search function, so you can search for the files if the files become, the list become very long. Good. Back to the data maps. So next thing here on the list is these VMSs, WMSs. I want to bring these out and bring them into my GIS program. So as Tom showed, I'll go to the tab here. I will find my 2D grid VMS, copy it, and then I will bring it into my GIS program. I'll just open it here. I think I might have opened an old version of QGIS. Let me just find it. There we go. Sorry about that. So this could potentially be any of your usual GIS programs. We are just showing the QGIS in this case. So I'm sorry about the names here. They are of course in Danish, but I'll try to explain it. So of course, what I want to do here is add a VMS layer to my GIS program. So I'll go find the VMS, add the VMS, and I will create a new connection, give it a name. This will be the NGC 2D grid VMS, and I have the link in my it was copied from the page, so I'll just paste it here. There it is, and press OK. I will connect to the VMS. This will, of course, be different from any GIS program that you're using, but this is how it looks in QGIS. And here I have a long list of all the 2D grids that's been uploaded, and I will try to navigate to my uploaded grid. And Tom and Morten, if you see it, please help me.
Identify
At the top, 3 down.
Oh yeah, thank you. There it is. IGIS terrain and the name that I gave it. And I will put in a coordinate system like that, and then put it into the GIS program. And let me just zoom to the layer. And as you see, it read the color scale as well here. So the color scale that I uploaded the file with, my GIS program read it here as well, and I have the list and the file. So if I want to do the same with the borehole data, instead of choosing 2D grids, I will select boreholes and copy the link. I'll go to my GIS program, do the same, go into add the VMS. I'll create a new connection. This time it will be the NGC borehole VMS, and click OK to that, connect to it. And here I have my wells. Select the coordinate system and apply. And there you see the wells. So very easy to bring it directly into your own GIS programs if needed. There is an option here using actually exactly QGIS as there is. If you go back to the data, the GeoCloud here, if you go down here, if for the very observant, there is also a click down button here, and there is on this list an editable VFS. So if I click that and stay on the boreholes, I'll copy the link. So now I have a VFS instead of my VMS. So I'll go into my GIS program, and instead of putting in a VMS, I'll put in a VFS instead. And I'll same as before, add a new connection. So this is the NGC borehole VFS. And I'll connect to it, and I will find my IGIS wells here and apply them. So the smart thing here is that by doing this in the VFS instead of the VMS, now I actually have an option from QGIS to edit the how they are visualized. So now I can work with them just as if it was something that I locally imported from my computer. The VMS they will always be purple unless I change it from the GeoCloud with the VFS. So now I have the VFS here, and I will change the colors of them. So I will go to edits. Let's say I want it to be categorized, and it will have to use elevation as the category. And the color scale should be this one here, classify, and apply. So now the colors of the boreholes in this case is varying dependent on elevation. This is how I want to visualize my boreholes from the WMS as well and on my GeoCloud. So this is actually something that I want to upload now. So I'll save this project.
Yeah, labels.
And yes, you can also add labels to it. Thank you, Tom. I won't do it here, but you can actually basically you can do anything with the VFS, the objects here, the wells in this case, as you would be able to do from your own GIS program. So add labels. You could add how they are visualized. So in this case, there are circles. You could create squares, stars, if that's what you like. So basically anything. I'll save the project, and I'll make sure to save it as the QGIS have two different versions to save into, and I'll need the QGS, not the QGC. So I'll save it as that, and I will tell it to here, VFS, saved. I'll minimize this, and so now I want to bring this in. Let me just quickly show you again. The VMS is colored purple, but I want to change this to be the same symbology as from my VFS. So I'll go to data administration and go into data, and then it's a little bit hidden here, but styles your shapefiles, and as the VFS is somewhat a shapefile, it also actually says here VFS URL. This is where you will upload your QGIS project file. So press upload, and I click the box, or you can also once again just drag it in here. And I'll select the newly saved file and press finish, and hopefully it will tell me it was successful. It's up here in the right corner. Successfully uploaded. So if I'm lucky and I'm going back here to my boreholes, they should now be colored as I saw them in my GIS program. And as you see now, the colors of the wells are not purple. They are random, or not random, they are colored dependent on the elevation of the well. So this is just to show you that the VMSs have some kind of some kind of standard visualization, and you can change that visualization if you want to. And this is done by the GIS program called QGIS, which is free of charge. So that's basically it for the cloud. I've uploaded 2D grid and boreholes. I've change the VMS of the wells. Next step here would be to try to upload on the projects map a project. So I'll go to the projects map and show you that.
I guess I didn't forgot to mention before that when you're on the projects map, we have these search functionalities here. So if you can actually search out an address, so if you have a specific address in your link column or so, you can type it in here, or you can search on the project name. So when you have a long list of projects, you can search out if you know you have Clarkson project by Clark or Clarkson, and the list of projects will be reduced to projects containing the name Clarkson. So it's just to mention that we have this search functionality on the project map.
Perfect, thank you. So what I want to do now is I want to create one of these projects. So I want to be able to make my own. And doing that, I will go to projects administration. So Tom showed some of this, but now I don't want to edit or delete an existing one, of course. So I will go to add data. It's a little bit hidden up here in the right corner, but click add data and you'll get this page up. And this is where I will firstly write in all the details of my project. So let's quickly go away from Denmark here and get to Nebraska. If I want an extent, I can click that in as well here, and I can just move that to Nebraska as well. Now it tells me that my coordinate system is not set right. So let me put the state plane like that. And I'll just zoom in to make it more adjustable here. So this is basically where my project is positioned. So I'll just put this where my project is. And if I want an extent, this will be the lower left corner of my extent and the right upper corner. So this should somewhat extend where my project is, if I want it. If I don't want an extent, I just want the position, I can remove the area again. You have the option to write in coordinates for the extent. So if you want some specifics, you just write it in here and press update. Same applies for the pin position. You can see the updates here when I move it. If you have a specific coordinate, you can apply it here. The EPSG was set down here, so remember to put that in as well. Otherwise, you'll get the same error as I did. Perfect. So a name, I'll call it ArcGIS test project. And I can put in a description, projects uploaded by ArcGIS. Down here, if I scroll a little bit down, you can see I come to the access page where Tom, he also mentioned something about this. So this is where I will have to either on the role base, so each person have a specific role applied to them. So if I just want to do it on all that have a role that says administrator and regular users, then they would have these rights. If I don't want that, but I want more person-specific options here, I can go and say that using 3D support, our support should have read rights to this project. I'll do it like this. So regular users can only read and administrators can both read and download the project. I scroll down here, you can see at the moment I cannot upload files or images, and this is as it says because I need to save the project first. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll save the project. Data has been saved. So now you see I can actually see the bounding box as well. I'll scroll down once more, and now I will be able to upload files. So I will go ahead and select my files. I have something prepared here. So let me just show you the folder actually. In here in the folder, I have a GeoMod file, so the GeoScene project file, and I have a zip file. And in this zip file, I have, in this case, put a document here, a Word document from a hydrogeological conceptual model. So this is a report, and then there are some appendices in PDFs. So I've zipped those into this zip file, like that. So now I want to upload these things, both the upload test GeoMod file and the zip file. I'll start out with the zip file. I'll select that. Then I'll go ahead and select another file. I'll just have to select all files down here, and then I'll be able to select my GeoMod file. So now you can see I have two pending uploads. I have my project zip file and I have my project GeoMod file called upload test. I can add some comments to them. Uploaded by ArcGIS, anything. And then when I'm ready, I click start upload. And then you can see it will start process and become 100% and complete. Two files were successfully uploaded. Now you'll be able to see them here on uploaded files. You can edit them. So download the file again, delete it, or edit. That would be the comments. You can at any point upload more files if come back to it. So for this, at the moment, there's the project upload test, but I could also just upload anything else on a second stage, you could say. Here you can see the allowed file types, just so you know that. Lastly, on the project here, I will select an image. So I had an image from my GeoMod project file here. This is from within the project, so telling me a little bit about what's in this GeoMod project file. I'll select that and I'll start uploading. And it was successfully uploaded. Once again, I have the same options to it. You can see the image here. So I click save, like that. Close this. And go now to my projects map, and hopefully I'll be able to find the position that I chose. Otherwise, I can filter as Tom just showed and write IDIS. And you see here, this is the project. The image that I uploaded is now shown here. I have the option to download my GeoMod file and my files, so my project zip file here. That's basically it for the projects. So, last thing that I'm going to show you here is the connection between the GeoCloud and GeoScene 3D. So I will show you that the wells and the terrain file that I uploaded on the data map, that they can now easily be downloaded into GeoScene instead of to your local computer. So there is this direct data flow between the two here. So I will bring up GeoScene. I have a project here, an empty project. Here it is. So now I've opened GeoScene, and for you guys who don't know much about GeoScene, GeoScene have as a default a 3D window. So this is my 3D window. You can see the sun here. So this is where I will my 3D scene. Along with it, I have a 2D map, so somewhat a GIS map. It have most of the functions that you can also find in the GIS program, but it's more limited than what you can do in a GIS program, though. Let me just show you here. So under Help, Machine ID and License, when you have downloaded GeoScene, you will be a viewer. So this is the free version of GeoScene where you cannot do nothing more than just view. If you want this portal version, which is settled with Jesse, this is where you'll do it from. So this specific machine ID that is unique to your own computer, we will need that to give you your license, and that is done by simply pressing Send Email to IGIS. You can see here that the license that I have activated is only a portal license, so the things that I will be able to do here is the same that you will be able to do with the portal version that you can get your hands on. Good. So things from the GeoCloud, the things that we just uploaded on the web portal, I will be able to, from this, you see my cursor up here in the upper left area, you'll be able to bring them in by clicking this light blue plus. It will give you an Add Data wizard where you will find the Nebraska portal. You'll click Next. There's a lot of other portals, but of course the Nebraska here is the one that is required to get your data. There are no user email or password that is required to get data from the Nebraska portal. I'll click Next, and here you can see there's all the different data types that we also had an option to upload to the GeoCloud. So first, I will bring in my 2D grid. So I will select a 2D grid. I'll press Next, and it will give me a list of 2D grids that are within my scene extent. And the scene extent that Tom mentioned earlier is this red square here. So this red square will have to be positioned at a place where my data is. Otherwise, this list would be empty. You can see I uploaded the IGIS terrain. So it's found there. There's some information about it. I wrote in the description uploaded by IGS. You can see that here. There's 2D grids. It's a floating point, EPSG, the size, so forth. I'll click OK, and then Next. Lastly, I'll have to give it a name within GeoScene. So this will be in this GeoScene project, my terrain file. It will be added to the surface group. So you see here. It will download the grid from the GeoCloud, as simple as that. I just selected it, nothing more had to be done. And it will bring it in. There you see. So now I have, just fly a little bit above the terrain here. So now I have the terrain file in my GeoScene project. And you see, I put it into the group node called surfaces. So this is kind of like a normal GIS programs as well. You have this tree to your left where you kind of handle all of the data that is in your project. So let's say I want the color to be something else, like the color scale that I uploaded to the cloud. So I'll go in here. This is a little quick doing this, but you have the option to change the colors by just going to the object properties to the material tab, choosing that you want to show color scale, and then change it. I will import from a file, and that will be the same file as I uploaded to the cloud. So here I have my terrain file. And I'll hit OK. And now you can see the color change to be the same as what is visualized on the GeoCloud. Let me also bring it to my map window. So you can see my 2D map is somewhat still empty. So over here you also have an add new layer to this window. So the 3D and the 2D map are somewhat connected, but not right ahead, because you have to choose from your objects and choose the terrain here. Then it will be added to the 2D map. So I'm slowly building a project here from the data that I uploaded to the GeoCloud. This will take a second, as it will actually have to download the 2D grid to the map as well. There you see, now brought onto my 2D map. Next, I have the wells, the well data. So I'll once again go to my add data wizard, my portal. Sorry, just one step back. Up here in the upper left corner, I'll go to my portal add data wizard. Once more, I'll bring in more data from the portal, Nebraska portal. This time, I will then have my wells, and my wells actually have both lithology and stratigraphy. So I can choose whether I want to import the stratigraphy or the lithology. I'll choose the lithology here. And then I have an option to download in 2 different EPSGs. So once you upload something to the GeoCloud, it will actually, the coordinates will be transformed into the state plane coordinates. So if it's something else, it will be transformed into the state plane coordinates. I can then here from GeoScene choose, do I want the portal EPSG, in this case being the state plane, or do I want the original EPSG from the data that I uploaded? So before it were transformed. So I'll take the portal EPSG in this case. And then I'll get, same for the 2D grid, a list of the files that are available within my scene extent. You can see here I have my IGS wells that I uploaded. Uploaded by IGS was type borehole, as I wrote. And the data, there are 20 boreholes. The EPSG is state plane. I'll click OK and next. And this will be wells from the GeoCloud. They will be added to data. This was very quick. You can see that wells are now added to the group called data. I will, same for the terrain. I will just quickly give the wells some color. So I'll go to the object properties, the material tab, symbols, clearly this as they don't make sense for this case, and import from the source. So this will just make some kind of random colorization dependent on the lithology values that are in my object here in the wells. I'll click OK and OK. I'll add the wells to my 2D map. The wells have now been available on my list here, and I'll add those. So now you can see that I have all these red squares, which is my individual boreholes. So let's find one. I'll go down and under my terrain here, and there is a borehole. So here I have the borehole with the well ID 101032, being clay in top, clay and sand in the middle, and sand in the bottom. I also, when I uploaded this borehole database, there were some boreholes that had both water level information and screen information. So if I should be able to find one of these, now I have I've cheated a little because I know which borehole I should be able to locate. So sorry, a little bit quick here. I will right click the wells and I have this option to locate a specific borehole. So I will locate the borehole called 100-384, and it will fly me to, or at least, oh, there it did. Fly me to the borehole. And you can see that this borehole has a water level indicated here by this blue. So the water level at the well is at this stage. It has two screens. So one screen interval here and one screen interval down here. These screens are something that I just randomly created. So if they don't make sense with a screen in clay, don't pay too much attention to that.
And of course, the colors of the individual lithologies can be changed. Thomas just made a random simple list with random colors. And you can just change the colors and save them, so you have your own predefined simple lists to be used for further use.
Yeah. So if I should show you once more, this list, I cleared it before, I can clear it again, and then I can actually start creating my own. So sand should be yellow, clay should be something else, and so forth. Keep going until you have all the lithologies that are in your wells in this list, and then you can choose the colors yourself.
Yeah, and you can use the source option here and just, in fact, just click on one of the color fields and change. Yeah, so if you need to change it.
Yeah, it's
to red, something like that. Yeah, and then it can be exported to a file that can be used as a default the next time you use.
So the colors are yeah, totally manageable by the person who are working with this, and you can do it just how you want it.
Just one comment, guys.
Yeah.
Jesse. We have prepared a standard color file for Nebraska, so that's something that users can get their hands on and import directly to their color file.
Okay. Perfect. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Last thing. So actually now I have my boreholes that I uploaded on the GeoCloud at the beginning. I have my terrain that I uploaded in the beginning on my GeoCloud into a GeoCine project, and I'm actually now starting to, as I said, build a GeoCine project and starting to work with data and visualize them in 3D. Last thing that I will show you here before I will hand it over to Morten is how you can create a profile. So on your map window here, there is this small button, Profile Digitizer Tool. So it's very easy, just clicking this, and then I can click Notes like this, and double click in the end. And this will be my profile 1. So now you see, just as easy as that, I now have a profile, and you can see when I move the cursor over it on the map, the cursor follows here. So I have my wells in here, I have my terrain file, showing everything that I imported from the cloud. I think that was what I wanted to say. My last thing, water level on here is shown once again with this small blue thing here, and the screens are a little bit different. They are this black line on the edge of the borehole here. This is the screen, and this is this other screen down here. You can actually see my cursor in 3D as well behind here. That was it. I will. Yeah.
Should we just, before Morten takes over, try and open one of the templates on the GeoCloud?
Good idea.
Yeah,
good idea.
Yeah. You can just close the project using projects.
Yeah. Will you or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as I mentioned in the beginning, there are 3 predefined startup templates, and in fact, when you open these, it will you're going to open GeoCine, and it will turn out more or less the same as Thomas just showed. But here you don't have to import the data. There are some predefined specific data for the project. So you try and open and the groundwater template here. Select area and let's see if I place the template here. So the dark box here is in fact the CNX 10s, which turned out as a red box in GeoCloud.
Hey, Tom.
So yeah, yes, Jesse.
I think those templates were created for the SQS2 area, so you'll have to move the box toward Humphrey, Columbus area. Oh, yeah, up a little bit farther to the north. Yeah, right there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, you have to make sure that the data that has been predefined in the template, that you are in an area where we actually have some data. Otherwise, it will just turn out empty. So I've placed my template here, and I want to open the template using downloads a local copy. There's a GSMod file, and I'm opening it. Using loads all the data that has been added to this project. A lot of things going on here right now. I guess there's quite a lot of data inside this area.
So they are predefined with the. So what I was showing was just how you could manually set something up, and these are some predefined by Jesse with a lot of data that is actually already in there and ready for you to use.
Yeah. So now I've opened one of these templates, and it looks a bit the same as Thomas showed you before, and you can see here in the control center, the object manager, that we have a number of different data types here. They can be unmarked. Let's try and remove this one and see there's some 3D geophysical grids. It's AM data that has been interpolated to a 3D grid. And again, you can just create cross sections as you wish by digitizing in the map window, and the cross section opens up. In this case, we have the AM data as a 3D grid here. We have some wells, we have some surfaces, geological layers, I guess, and again the terrain model and so on. So that's just to show you that there's been done some work for you. So it's quite fast getting started with a kind of predefined project. And you can, as you saw, you download a local copy, and then you can, if you have more data, you can add data to the project and customize it as you wish to. And in the end, it could be uploaded to the GeoCloud again on the here to the project map, as Thomas showed before. So that's just a final note about that. I think Morten will take over and show a few slides of what you can expect in the future of some of the developments.
Yeah, and I'll try to keep it pretty brief because we only have like half an hour left and maybe time for questions, so I'll go through it quickly, but you can ask questions about it later. So yeah, as Tom said, I'll just mention like briefly what we are currently working on and what's planned for the future, and obviously we are taking feedback from Jesse and you guys have mentioned a longer way and using that to like decide which direction we go in. But In the short-term plan, we have a few things in production and coming soon, and some that will be worked on like in the near future. We have some quality of life features coming, so some more filters and search functions for the maps. And if you remember back to when Thomas was uploading a 2D grid, he uploaded his color file first. We have been talking about developing a feature so you can change your color scale file without re-uploading your grids and then recreating all your VMSs and stuff, so you don't have to upload your files again if you want to change how your grids look. And then we have some legends that are still missing on the map, so the shape files and lithology grids. Lithology grids are a little bit different, but we will get into that when time needs. And then, as Tom mentioned, we are working on like scoping out how to better group data, so you have more flexibility with how you want to have it shown. As you saw on the map now, it was sorted by data types, but you could create some groups where it could be geologically placed, so by a county, or it could be a person's project, or based on a survey, or just like a very flexible way of grouping data to however you need to group them. And then after that, have some map filters and features, so it makes sense for you guys. So how I was talking about grouping the list of files and stuff by your groups instead of data types. And then Tom mentioned briefly that we were doing some documentation and stuff, so we have some step-by-step tutorials that will be available on our wiki that will be linked to the web page as well. So that's also coming in the near future. And then more long-term, we are planning for a lot of data visualization tools, and some of the first thing that we will need to do is have the symbology lists for the boreholes, as Thomas showed in GeoScene, be able to support those symbologies in the GeoCloud as well, because when we have that, we can start visualizing the data for you. There's a little picture of you with just some random colors here, but so you could have like a data inspection tool, so you could click on a specific borehole and get like a simple visualization of it and see what's kind of layers are at the specific depths. And we've been talking about making a cross-section tool for the map, so you could get like a quick overview of your different data in an area. And then we have some plans for doing some layer models and the pseudo wells with layer models, but that's a bit in the future still.
Some functionality we have in GeoScene right now, but we want to put it to the web in the future as well.
Yeah.
So for basic users, I guess GeoScene wouldn't be necessary for creating cross sections and borehole inspections and these pseudo well functionalities. So GeoScene will be more for the super users who needs to go a bit deeper into the level of detail of data and want to build models or edit existing models.
Yeah, and then briefly I want to talk about or mention a project we are working on that is being integrated with the GeoCloud. So in Denmark we have this big collaborative modeling project that we're building a countrywide geological model, and we are building a tool to keep track of who is working on what area at what time. So we are making this like checkout system where you can draw polygons on the map and check out a specific area, and you need to put in a few information. So why are you checking it out, and when do you expect to check it back in? And then you can see here on a map we have some different areas, so colored by your permissions for them. So the red ones are other people's areas, and the blue ones are areas that you have checked out, and the green ones are areas that are ready to be checked out. And then we have some checkout information and some uploading of the files once you're done with the areas. And then when you check them back in, the administrators of the portal will get notified, and they will verify that the modeling you have done is correct. And then a lot of automation and stuff will happen behind that will update the big model. So
yeah, and from our point of view, this is really exciting. We have this for the last couple of years. This work making this national-wide hydrostratigraphic model has been going on, and it's been quite complex, and the setup is still quite complex when you need to make changes in this model. So this system allows multiple users to be working on a statewide model for Nebraska, step by step, building this model up in areas that hasn't been modeled, and in areas that has been modeled and need to be updated, and so on. So I think that's quite a big potential in this one, in this functionality.
yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the polygons and the checking in stuff is for locking an area, so you don't have multiple people working on the same thing at the same time, and making sure that we don't have overlap and conflicting data.
Yeah, and when you, this is maybe a bit technical, but when you check out a model, sub area from a model, as incorporated a kind of buffer zone in the area you check out. So it's a way to secure that we will obtain some seamless borders between the different model areas. And of course, there need to be a predefined hydrostratigraphic setup with a predefined number of layers. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that was basically it, the content of our presentation. And I think it's time for questions. We have more or less 20 minutes or so, depending on when you go to lunch. Yeah, so I think
yeah, thanks guys. That was that's really good. A lot of exciting stuff there, and yeah, I'm excited too about the collaborative modeling. I can see some potential certainly in Nebraska. We do have a couple of questions that have already been uploaded to the chat box. If you'd want to start there, we can address those questions, and then we could take questions as they come in after that. Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we have from Mark, can you append new wells to the same project instead of deleting and adding again? Well, I guess
that's actually, I think you kind of almost answered that, because it's not a feature that happens at the moment, updating files. but I believe it will be something that we will look into and make available in the future. So,
Yeah.
so at the moment, you'll have to delete and add again.
Yeah. Okay. Another question is the WMS, WFS compatible with QGIS versions above 3.4? What versions of ArcGIS are supported? In fact, about the QGIS, do we have a clear answer on that?
I can answer like most of the question because so for viewing purposes, you will be able to view it in any QGIS and ArcGIS version. But for the thing that Thomas showed with editing the VFS and uploading it again, you will have to use QGIS, and there are some versions of QGIS that doesn't work with it. We don't have a specific list, but the most important thing is saving it in the correct format. Other than that, I think as long as it's a newer version, it should work.
I think as well, if you make sure you have one of the newer versions of QGIS, and you just make sure you save it as I showed, I think it was QGS, it was called. Save it as that format. It will work on the portal. Yeah. So here the standard is actually called QGC, but if you choose that one, QGS, it will work on the GeoCloud.
And for the ArcGIS,
so you won't be able, as Martin he said, you won't be able to edit the VFSs with ArcGIS, but you will be able to import the VMS in all versions of ArcGIS.
You'll be able to bring the VFS in and edit it for your own purpose, but you won't be able to upload it to style the.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah, of course. So you can bring it in, but not back to the GeoCloud.
Okay. That's a question from Aaron Young. Can also WMS, WFS be added to the GeoCloud?
And no, not currently. I think a lot of the things you would want to add, you can add with shapefiles, but we have talked about adding support for outside VMSs as well, and I think that's definitely on the list of requested features, but it's not in the scope for immediate development right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I do see one person has had their hand raised for about 45 minutes. Jocelyn,
oh.
Maybe either she has a question or doesn't realize that she has her hand raised. Did you have a question, Jocelyn?
I don't. I didn't realize I had the button hit.
Okay.
Okay.
You're just stretching, right?
Exactly.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question, Jesse. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah. I'm curious about the AEM data that's on the GeoCloud. Is that all in a seamless single database that can be downloaded by selecting a certain area, or do you still need to download data per AEM project?
I guess I should answer that. So it's all saved in our database, in one big database where we maintain it. So that's the one we use if you want to view the data in GeoScene. So then it's so when viewing from GeoScene, it's pretty seamless. But currently we don't have. Well, there are APIs that we can expose that can be used from potentially other projects, but if you want to download it into a file, you will have to do with the original files that were uploaded.
Okay, thank you. Is that something that's going to be developed in the future? Making it downloadable by a certain area for use in other applications?
Yeah, you noticed that?
We will, yeah, we will take note of that.
Yeah.
I believe we'll consider it, definitely.
Wonderful, thank you.
Of course, one of the complications with that, Mike, as you know, is each survey may have different number of layers, different thickness of layers, different parameters, depending on the inversion product. So if you were querying an area, you may end up with several different surveys with different numbers of layers, and we'd have to work through those issues with IGIS as part of a scope.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not uncomplex to do.
Mm-hmm. Right, understood.
More questions or comments? So, Jason, what about the portal versions? When people want to get started with this, using the GeoCloud, are they out now, some of the portal versions, or?
Yeah, it's sort of up to each of the members, the project members, to go ahead and download the software to their computer of choice, and then to request the license file. So there's nothing inhibiting them at this point from getting started, other than maybe a little prompting from me, a little encouragement. But I think this webinar will help sort of demystify some of what's going on with GeoCloud.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, we can sort of get going on some of this. Does anyone want to chime in? Anyone from the NRDs or the project sponsors?
This is Paul Woodward with the PAPU NRD. I just wanted to clarify that we do need to request user access and a password and get that all set up to log in and see what they were doing today.
Yeah, for the GeoCloud web portal that was shown today, just send me an email. I see that you've already done that, Paul, so yeah. I'll prompt the system to send you I'll send you a link, and you click on the link to set up your account. If anyone else out there wants access to the GeoCloud, just send me an email with the request. As far as the Nebraska viewer, the GeoScene Nebraska viewer goes, just go ahead and download that from geoscene3d.com. And then you do like Tom showed, you go to the license request within the program and prompt the system to send IGIS an email, and they'll send you the license file.
Yep.
So I just wanted to mention that Rachel Wood, who's working for AGF, has done a lot of data uploads. You can see on the 2D grids and the AEM surveys, she spent a lot of time populating the GeoCloud with the work that AGF has done. So there's a lot of data up there that can be explored already, and I think she's still in the process of uploading additional grids. And I'm currently working on CSD borehole database to get the statewide database uploaded for the entire state. So yeah, we've been working behind the scenes, uploading a lot of data, and hopefully it will be, you know, ready to go and useful for your purposes. So kind of coming up on 2 hours here. Is there any other pressing questions by the group before we let these guys go?
No further questions?
Not seeing any.
Everything was loud and clear.
Well, this was very useful. I don't have an announcement for the next webinar, but I'm hoping to offer another webinar soon. So if anyone has any ideas for topics, anything that they need clarified, and whatever, you know, I'm sort of open ears right now. I thought it might be actually a good idea for the next webinar to showcase a project where we've used this, and so we could, you know, do something like that. But any other ideas, just send us an email and we can work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tom, and your team for meeting us today. Hope everything's well over there, and we appreciate your time.
Yeah, we appreciate that we had the chance to show the cloud for you. So it's yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
So yeah, good luck using the cloud. Hopefully GeoCloud, working with the data. And yeah, see you sometime for hopefully soon.
Okay. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.